Joining us in studio, CEO of the Chick-fil-A Peach Bowl, Gary Stokan. Gary, good morning.
Yeah, how are you?
I'm good. How you doing?
Great time of the year, huh?
It's a great time.
Yeah.
It's a little bittersweet because it means college football season's over. It's coming to a close, but it's always so exciting because I love the bowl season, even when it's not the playoffs. And these two playoff matchups and 3 of the 4 playoff teams being undefeated is an incredible field, isn't it?
Yeah, it's unbelievable when you think about the seasons they have to go through and the games they have to play. And when you talk about the quarterbacks, well, all 4 players that are playing in the playoffs are going to be up in the national show for the Heisman.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you got some wonderful players, great teams, great stories. Our story, Jalen Hurts comes back to Atlanta to play in Mercedes-Benz Stadium where he won the SEC championship for Alabama.
Was a hero.
2 quarterbacks who were in the Heisman race, but 2 of the top quarterbacks in the country. So, I mentioned to you earlier, we're thinking of opening the roof at Mercedes-Benz Stadium for the fireworks that we're probably going to see.
How much offense could there be in this game? LSU, Joe Burrow, and then, of course, the Oklahoma offense that has always been, for the last couple of years, dynamite. I mean, we might see 100 points scored in this game.
Well, they averaged 91 points together. They averaged 91 points. And offense, 554.4 leads the nation with LSU, and 554.2 is what Oklahoma. So they're number 2. So offense are incredible. We talked earlier, I think the defense are going to be the real key. Who can step up and make some stops?
Will it affect you guys at all that LSU fans were just in the building last week for the SEC title game, asking them to come back for a semifinal?
Hey, LSU fans, they may have stayed in Atlanta all week. Who knows? I mean,
might stay there for the next month.
Yeah, I tell you what, they're so excited. We talked to Coach Orgeron, and we just had their administration yesterday in Atlanta, and they're so excited. Obviously, when you're in a semifinal game, that speaks for itself. And they're in Mercedes-Benz Stadium, which they love. They've had success in, and they know, so they feel a little bit more comfortable in it. And that's part of the playoff, committee. They took the number 1 team and give them an advantage. That's the only advantage they get is where they play, and in LSU's case, Atlanta makes sense.
So you guys knew you were going to be a semifinal all year, but you didn't know if you were going to get the 1 versus 4 or the 2 versus 3.
No, you're exactly right. We didn't know. It's funny, back when the CFP started in 2015, and we had the first game, Ole Miss TCU. On that Sunday or Saturday, I called Bill Hancock. I said, Bill, are you going to call me and let me know who we have? He said, Gary, you will find out when the rest of America finds out.
Wow.
So this Sunday, we were at Sport and Social in Atlanta, and we were all waiting, like the kids were waiting to see what bowls they were going to. And we found out we had number 1 LSU and number 4 Oklahoma.
Wow. Gary Stokan joins us, CEO of the Chick-fil-A Peach Bowl. So take us behind the scenes. Do you guys as a committee and you personally watch those playoff rankings as intently as the rest of us do because you don't know who's going to end up in your game?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I go through the process every week. Now, prior to the CFP, this is my 22nd year, I used to be in charge of who we would select. We would select between SEC and ACC. So, I mean, I'd go through all the analytics. And now I've been through, I don't know if you ought to do it if you haven't been through it, in Gaylord to go through the process with the CFP.
Yeah, I have not done that personally, but I know people that have done that.
I've done it, and the analytics they have are incredible. The amount of information you get, and the way they go about ranking the top 25, you come in with your top 25 list, as is everybody else on the committee. You input your top 3, and everybody else does, and the computer will spit out who's 1, 2, and 3. And then you debate it. If anybody thinks, well, no, I think this person, and you debate it, you get to the top 3, and then you put the next 3 in. It's really a good process to get to a top 25, and they've got it right every year, I believe.
This year particularly, I think they got it right, and it wasn't easy, but I think putting LSU 1 over Ohio State was right. And look, Dabo, I understand being a little cranky. He went undefeated. He's the defending national champs, and they're the 3rd best team in the country. But I do think that that's right because what they almost did, stubbed their toe against UNC, LSU didn't, and Ohio State didn't. So I understand being a little perturbed by that, but I think the committee did get that right, don't you?
Well, no doubt about it. When you sit in that committee room, it has nothing to do with last year, has only what you did that week, and that's how they rank them. And after Clemson, and I know Dabo well, he's a good friend, and he used it to help, get the kids fired up on the team and keep them going
And he's still using it.
And he's still using it. That's exactly right. He's going to use it all the way through.
Got that right.
And but they got it right. I think LSU deserves 1, Ohio State 2, Clemson 3. Any one of them could win this thing. And at the end of the day, now you have a shot. There's 4 teams, 2 games. Just win your games. Doesn't matter what the rankings are now.
College football playoff, people worried that it would mitigate the bowl system and render some bowls irrelevant, at least for you guys in the playoff. And maybe you can talk to this when you're not in the playoff. It feels like a boon. I mean, you were saying that you guys won't have a ticket available for this game.
Right, yeah. When you have a semifinal game, it's tremendous, obviously. All the eyes of college football are upon you. When you don't have a semifinal game, you got to work hard to sell the tickets, and you got to sell tickets locally. You can't depend on the 2 teams to bring the crowd, and we do an awfully good job with that. We've sold out 20 of our last 22 games. Now we're in a great city. A lot of people have said Atlanta is the capital of college football because we have so many fans of different teams living in Metro Atlanta, and it's easy to get to.
It's the heart of the SEC. It's easy to get to.
Exactly.
There's a million transplants that love college football from all over. The College Football Hall of Fame is there. The stadium was the Georgia Dome now. I mean, Mercedes-Benz is ridiculous. So, yeah, it does feel like kind of the hub of college football.
God, I got to hire you, man. That's great. That's a great promotion. But no, you're right. It looks like NASCAR with all the flags of all the schools around 285 and 85 and 20 on a weekend.
Yeah.
So we're really blessed. We've got great corporate support. And so Atlanta's, we think it is the capital of college football.
So this is interesting because there's going to be a lot of people that are listening to this show right now that are thinking about going to bowl games this year, following their teams. And I think we think a successful bowl is when you get a big alumni base, a big fan base to come travel to the bowl game, and you don't want the smaller fan bases, et cetera. But what you're saying is bowl committees actually focus more on selling tickets locally than they do in getting a larger alumni base from a school that's playing.
Yeah, you have to be successful. I mean, we'll sell 35,000 tickets locally, and the 2 teams in a semifinal game get 13,000 tickets, which includes their band tickets. So once you put that together, you're close to a sellout, and that's the key, is selling local tickets. And then when you're not a CFP playoff, as we were in the past, we weren't a part of the BCS, but we are a part of the CFP. I always say you got to maximize the 3 T's. You got to maximize title, sponsorship money. You got to maximize tickets, and you got to maximize all the travelers coming in. And if you do that, you got a chance to be successful. And we've got some great bowl games out there. I mean, Michigan's playing Alabama. Minnesota's playing Auburn. There's some great games out there. And if you love college football, when you're off for the holidays, great time to watch.
Yeah.
ESPN does more business during these 2 weeks of bowl season than any other time during the year. I mean, a bowl game that's maybe a nondescript bowl game, and I hate to say that because they're all interesting, we'll do a 1-1-5, and an NBA semifinal, we'll do a 1.
I know. It's
incredible.
Bowl ratings are through the roof, which is why they just keep expanding, which is why there's these little bowls that pop up every single year, but they're always going to have a television contract because they do really good TV ratings. Gary Stokan joins us, Chick-fil-A Peach Bowl CEO and president. What was the decision-making behind when the playoff was on December 31st versus moving that?
Great question, yeah. Bill Hancock wanted to create a new kind of celebratory weekend or holiday, knowing that the Sugar and the Rose were always going to stay on January 1st. And so we looked at 31st and 1st. And it worked well for the first 3 years of the cycle. The second 3 years of the cycle, 31st started to fall on the weekdays, so a Tuesday, a Wednesday. Well, a lot of people don't want to take off Tuesday and Wednesday to come to a bowl game at the end of the year. So we said, the bowls, the 6 New Year's 6 bowl games, ESPN and CFP met in Dallas, and we said, look, NFL is known for Sundays. That's when NFL plays. College football is known for Saturdays. Let's move all of our other games, other than the Rose and the Sugar, on Saturdays. And so that's why we're playing this year, December 28th on Saturday, with the 2 semifinal games. And then the Cotton Bowl will lead into us.
And it made a lot of sense to move it off of December 31st because there was just a lot of people that had other plans that day, family plans, spouse plans, party plans, and then they just couldn't get around a TV to watch 8 hours of college football. So.
No, it's a great point. It's a great point. It's easy to travel, and you get a bigger TV audience.
Yeah, that's right. Gary Stokan joining us, Chick-fil-A Peach Bowl CEO and president. Well, you guys got a good one here. I like LSU. I think we all like LSU to win. Oklahoma might be able to put up a few points, but LSU is the class of the class right now, so you guys got what I think are going to be the national champions playing in this game.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. So I think you guys.
Ed Orgeron likes hearing that.
And you're going to have the Heisman Trophy winner in this game as well because Joe Burrow is going to lock this thing up this weekend.
Be our second Heisman. We had Johnny Manziel a few years ago. So, yeah, two great quarterbacks.
The legend of Burrow is burgeoning, and it is exciting, and this kid has had an amazing season. Gary, it's been cool to talk to catch up with you, man. Thanks so much.
Great to be with you, DA. Thanks so much.
My pleasure.